Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to grow a tomato by sort of layering it across the garden. This is a single tomato plant. Tomato plants are vines, and as a vine, if you put in a tomato plant that tall, when it gets about 2 feet, it falls over. As it falls over, wherever the stem connects to the ground, a new root system will grow up. And a tomato is meant to sprawl, and we're going to sprawl it right down this bed, a single plant. Please subscribe. Over the season of 2023, I'll show you how I take care of this and how much a single plant produces as we sort of layer it into the ground, meaning every maybe foot or so, we're going to bury a portion of the stem and it's going to root out and grow. It's an alternative to growing tomatoes. Instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4 single plants and just growing them straight up, I'm going to take a tomato plant, let it grow as it naturally wants to grow, but kind of, just direct it down there. What does that do? Indeterminate tomato plants get massive. When we plant them as a single plant growing straight up, we do a lot of pruning. I'll do less pruning here. Let me show you what's going on. So this part is going to go into the ground. Pretend that's the ground level right here. You already see new production vines are popping up. So I'm going to plant this plant to here, and I'll show you that, as we do it. Leave this right by the planting hole. That's going to be plant number 1. I'm going to remove the leaves of this plant, of this space right here, and bury the stem next to it. I'm going to also leave this one. As this continues to grow down, I'm going to remove leaves, bury stem, remove leaves, bury stem, and end up with, maybe, 4, 5, 6 buried parts of the stem. They're all going to root out. It's going to make for a very vigorous plant. And right where I bury it, I'm going to just send up one of the suckers. These are technically suckers right here, and just grow them straight up. So the root system is going to be connected to one vine going all the way across. It might be a little bit confusing, but let me just show you how I'm going to do it. The gap from here to here is a little bit small, but just for the example of the video today, I want to show you what I do with this space. I will let this grow further, putting a greater gap between the plant right here and then the next plant that I grow up the trellis. So the first thing we want to do is clean this plant up a little bit. And if you're going to do this method, remember, you might just be putting in a tomato plant that is about, that tall. You would just plant it right here. And as it grows, gets about 2 feet, you would then kind of just let it fall over this way. And you're going to let it sprawl, and you're just going to, plant the vine as you're going down that way. This is a little bit bigger for the example. So first thing I'm going to do is remove the leaves and suckers I don't want. So we're going to keep this one right here. This is a leaf. So just so you know, I have plenty of videos on this. Here's the main stem. That was a sucker. Come down to here. This is a leaf that comes out. Right in there is a sucker. That will turn into a full production stem, meaning it will leaf, flower, and will continue to vine out on its own. We don't want that one there. As you come down further on the stem, you see a leaf come out here. The vine continues along here, and right in here is what is called a sucker, but that will produce tomatoes. We don't want that either. I'm going to remove that. We continue down. Here's the leaf all the way out to here, and that is the production stem or the sucker, and that will continue to grow. Flowers are starting right in there. We're going to remove that piece. Let me get all them out of the way. Oh, let's cut this from the other side. Going to remove this leaf. Going to remove those flowers. We don't want any fruit there yet. It's too early. I'm going to remove this leaf. And I'm going to remove this leaf. So basically what I have is this is going to go into the earth. I'll show you that. First plant will come up. This is going to get buried a little bit too close. We could go with a foot, 2 feet or something. This will continue to produce, and then this is going to continue to sprawl. So wherever I bury this, wherever I put this, layer earth over it, it's going to root out. And then as this vine continues to grow, we'll continue kind of to rinse and repeat and do the same thing. All right, let me get this in the ground. you can get a sense of how it's going to look working its way down this bed. Some of the reasons you might do this: number one, it's fun. Number two, you get tons of production. It's just like having several tomato plants. Having multiple places where the roots connect to the earth, the plant sometimes is more vigorous. It has more roots in the soil, getting more nutrients, more moisture. If watering is an issue, it's a nice way to have a plant that is connected throughout your entire garden instead of several individual plants. It's how the tomato is meant to grow, so I think there's something to be said to let plants grow how they're supposed to grow. But follow me again, you'll see, how this plant does. I think it'll do very well. Now, this, I'm not sure what it is. This was grown accidentally in my house, starting somewhere in December-ish. I thought it was a tiny Tim. It's not. I'm hoping that it's a black cherry, but we'll be surprised to see what grows out of here. So I have a lot of videos on setting up the planting hole, and I will be doing a video on setting up a planting hole for 2023, and it'll teach you how to conserve resources and just use them in a planting area. But let's just say we get it planted. This, kind of bleaching and drying here is nothing to worry about. So we're going to cover the plant over. Those are going to be the deep roots, and we're just going to, get around this growth. Maybe put a little bit right there. That's your first plant. Put some soil down. And then this plant would continue out this way, and I would put some soil around here. Now, because the space is shorter, it's going to look like one continual mound, and that could happen. That's fine. But we'll let this grow. And the space between here, really, we want a good probably 18 inches, maybe 2 feet or something like that. But that's how you set it up. This plant is going to root right here. Beneath the plant, obviously, we just put the roots in the ground, and then along this stem. And as this goes, I'm actually going to have to weight this down a little bit. I will put some earth right where my fingers are. I'll show you that in a second. And then I'm just going to let it keep vining out and pruning and trimming it, allowing these plants to grow upward. If you wanted to create kind of the rooting layer, you could go this way with it. You could really take one plant and fill this entire space. A lot of the videos about tomato gardening, growing tomato plants, only show you how to grow one single plant. There's reasons for it, but I thought I would do something different, have fun with it, and it absolutely is a great way to grow tomatoes, and it makes for a very, very strong, vigorous plant. Once you have the vine in, you want to just keep this area watered. It's going to root out much quickly if that top several inches of the soil stays moist. Just mounded up the dirt. You can see the vine wanting to pop up. Just put the brick over it. It's going to be fine. And now we have 1, 2, 3 production stems, also known as suckers, and I will continue to let that sprawl all the way down there until we're growing a nice wall of tomatoes. And maybe I will keep the space something like this. Because I use hydrogen peroxide now, I've been doing that for, I don't know, at least 5 years. It's a great way to control all kinds of fungal diseases and problems on your tomato plants. So I grow them a lot more closely than I used to. Part of the reason why you space out plants is for better airflow, disease management, but the use of hydrogen peroxide really makes a difference, and I'll be doing more videos on that. So please subscribe. We will take this plant all the way down this bed. We'll see how it does, and we'll also find out if it's a black cherry tomato or if it's some other tomato. I wanted to do this video now because it's getting towards the end of April, and maybe you want to try, growing a tomato plant this way. Experimenting is always fun. Please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com. And again, thanks for watching, and thanks for following me. Have a great day.